Mark Johnson of Calgary, you could win a 2010 Nissan Rogue if a kickoff is returned for a touchdown in tonight's game thanks to Safeway's Touchdown to Win promotion. And if a second kickoff is returned, you could win $1 million. Let's take you to Edmonton. Here are Gord Miller and Dwayne Ford.
Thank you, David. It's a beautiful Sunday afternoon in Edmonton for a 5 o'clock local kickoff. The weather is 23 degrees Celsius. There are some thunderstorms in the forecast, but those should come later tonight. It is a bit windy, the wind gusting to 35 kilometers from the south. And there is lineup news for Edmonton, Dwayne.
Well, there certainly is. At the free safety position, the rookie second-round draft pick, Sal Borhat, out of St. Mary's University, makes his first career start. He replaces the injured Jason Nugent at that free safety position. Borhat fortunate to have a pretty good tutor in his head coach and defensive coordinator, former CFL star defensive back Richie Hall, in his second season as the Eskimos head coach.
Now, meantime, for the Montreal Alouettes, for just the second time in the last 14 years, they lost their season opener, blew a 21-point lead in the third quarter against Saskatchewan. And his team will look to right the ship against the Edmonton Eskimos, who have another notable change. Noel Prefontaine is out. Derek Chivoni, the 25-year-old native of Fort Erie, Ontario, will do the kicking duties for the Edmonton Eskimos. He is, by the way, 8 for 8 in his career on field goals in limited duty in 3 seasons in the CFL. So the Eskimos are trying to avoid losing their first 2 at home for the first time since 1969. Chivoni sends that way up in the air, and it's bobbled. The ball is loose and fallen on very quickly by Montreal's Brian Bratton. Now there's a scramble for the loose ball, but it did appear that Montreal got it back, and Derek Chivoni comes out with a short, high kickoff that gave the Alouettes some problems.
Well, the Eskimos certainly looking to create a little bit of chaos on that opening kick, the sky shot.
And Bratton was able to fight off Mark Rostelli for the loose football, and that'll send the Montreal offense to work Anthony Calvillo. And the most well-oiled machine in the league will face an Edmonton defense that has some holes. On first down, the give to Avon Coburn. And he'll test his run defense and get a first down out to the 47-yard line.
Montreal offense starts off in much more typical fashion than what we saw last week. An early interception. Very familiar faces in this group. Ben Cahoon, the all-Canadian slot back, playing his 200th career CFL game. Paul Lambert, the veteran guard, moves into the center spot, replacing the retired Brian Chew.
Now an assistant football coach at Concordia University. First down for the Alouettes. Last week, Jamel Robertson rushed for 168 yards against Edmonton. And this is Coburn again trying the other side, and Coburn again finds some room out close to midfield. And a gain of about 7.
As you mentioned, Gordon, Edmonton defense looking to tighten up against the run. One change in that front 7. Kenny Petway makes his first CFL start. He replaces Greg Peach. Peach went on the 9-game injured list this week after suffering a knee injury last week. Sal Borhat, the rookie at free safety, surrounded by a group of veterans, all those off-season acquisitions, Lenny Walls, Lawrence Gordon, and Chris Thompson, also on the back end.
Dean was 6 at 2nd and 4. Calvillo from the shotgun, lots of time over the middle, and he's got him in. Jamel Richardson, and Richardson has a first down inside the 40 to the Edmonton 39-yard line, a pickup of 18 yards.
Montreal used that run on their first couple of plays. Just when Edmonton's thinking that's the direction they're going, it's to the air. Anthony Calvillo, the old familiar, hooking up with Jamel Richardson. Terrific passing lane there. You got a great look in that shot. The passing lane scored created by his offensive line.
Richardson, one of 5 Alouettes who had 5 catches last week. Now on first down, it's Coburn again trying the middle. We should mention, Dwayne, that while the Eskimos did beef up their secondary, 4 of the 5 starting offensive backs are in their first year with the Eskimos.
Yeah, exactly. 4 of the 5 in their first year with the Eskimos, and then Jason Goss, the one holdover, is a guy who played so many different positions the last couple of years. He's probably still finding his bearings at that boundary corner spot as well.
Second and long. Calvillo with time underneath. Ben Cahoon makes the catch right at the first down marker. And it's ruled a catch down at the 29-yard line, which could be good for a Montreal first down.
Anthony Calvillo hits Ben Cahoon out in the flat. This ball, the tip of that ball, hits the ground.
And Richie Hall has thrown up the challenge flag. So as the spotters upstairs saw it, Hall hauls out the challenge flag. And in the video room in Toronto, Jake Ireland will take a look.
I think the officials might have been giving Ben Cahoon the benefit of the doubt, and who can blame them based on his history.
It's his 200th game. What a career for Ben Cahoon, a three-time CFL All-Star.
Challenging the ruling on the field of a completed pass. We'll review the play.
Richie Hall and company. After that dispiriting loss to BC last week, Edmonton had that great opening drive. Nothing came of it. Had a touchdown called back, but Hall said the worst thing about last week was the lack of emotion from his football team.
Yeah, exactly. The Eskimos came out a little bit flat a day after the unveiling of the new dressing room, the new turf. A lot of excitement here at Commonwealth. But the S didn't respond to that.
But losing their opener, nothing new to the Eskimos, who have lost their first game of the season every year since 2005. In fact, they've lost 7 of their last 8 season openers. But whoever loses today will not only be 0-2, but be playing on the road next week.
And that's particularly big for the Eskimos, who have opened with 2 straight home games, something they certainly felt would be an advantage in the top end of their schedule.
And they're going to Regina next week. And I'm hearing rumors that Saskatchewan might have a good team. Those rumors are coming primarily from the Montreal and British Columbia camps.
No doubt about that.
Well, there's a look at it, and it does seem pretty clear that Ben Cahoon did not have control, although they are taking a very long look at this. Ben Cahoon has caught 59 touchdown passes from Anthony Calvillo, the most of any player in Calvillo's career. Here's the call.
After review, the pass is incomplete. It's a third down.
Hall's challenge is successful. And so instead of 1st and 10 from the 29-yard line, the Alouettes are back to the 37-yard line, and Damon Duval is on to try a field goal. Duval 2 for 3 last week, and Skylar Green is back in case he misses. And of course, we have seen no shortage of kick return touchdowns this year, including missed field goal returns for touchdowns.
Tim Maypray, the Alouettes rookie, providing one of those last week against the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
From the 44. Cahoon with the hole. And the Alouettes have the first points of the game. Montreal leads 3-0 in the early going on the CFL on TSN from Edmonton. The CFL on TSN is brought to you in part by Rona, proud sponsor of the CFL. Rona, doing it right. 30-year-old Ricky Ray directs the Edmonton Eskimo offense. Very impressive on its opening possession last week, but not much to show after that. And the Eskimos will start from their 35-yard line. From the shotgun, Ray's under pressure, looks over the top right away. Campbell with the catch, takes a big hit, but gets a first down to the Montreal 40-yard line. Kelly Campbell with a gain of 34.
And you've got to love the concentration here from Kelly Campbell. Beats his defender, Billy Parker, right off the line of scrimmage. Ricky Ray's going here all the way. Campbell knows he's going to get hit right in the mouth, but he hangs on to that football. Terrific focus from number 71 in green and gold. The Eskimos' #1 big play threat.
Matthew Crew unloaded on him, but he was able to make the catch. And again, the Eskimos move the ball quickly. Archie Whitlock tries the right side, and Whitlock gets another first down. inside the 30 to the 29-yard line. This is very reminiscent of last week for the Eskimos against BC.
A tremendous start moving the football for the Eskimos. They just hope this time they can finish, which is where the wheels came off last week against BC. Moved the ball down to the 1-yard line before getting backed up by penalties and then a fumble.
They opened the game with an 82-yard march. And meantime, Matthew Prue is shaken up on the play.
You wonder if Matthew Prue might be feeling the after effects of that collision with Kelly Campbell on the opening play.
Joining us this afternoon is Ryan Rashad. Ryan?
Gord, thank you very much. This Eskimo offense over the last couple of years has taken a lot of criticism for being an offense that'll simply just take what the defense gives them. And Ricky Ray said that was definitely the case last week in their loss to the BC Lions. He felt he was way too cautious and said if there's one thing he wants to change this week, they want to take some bigger chances pushing it downfield. Gord, they didn't waste any time here tonight.
On first down, this is Whitlock. And he is wrapped up quickly as Chip Cox got a hand on him. It'll be a loss of a yard, bring up second down and 11. Last year, Dwayne, the Edmonton Eskimos led the league in average time of possession, but it did not translate into points.
Well, this is a big play football league, and sometimes it doesn't translate, particularly when you run into issues with turnovers and so on. Time of possession, just as you said, Gordon, doesn't necessarily mean a lot in terms of the outcome of games. It's what you do with that time.
Second and long. Here comes the blitz. Ray gets it off, but he was under pressure right away. As the Owls got in early, Shea Emery got in very quickly along with Eric Wilson. That'll bring up third down. And that'll mean a field goal try for Derek Schiavone, who of course is replacing Noel Prefontaine. His longest is 33 yards in his Canadian Football League career. This would be a try from 37.
As you mentioned earlier, Gordy puts that streak of perfection on the line every time he attempts a field goal. 8 for 8 so far in his CFL career.
Low snap. Moss got it down. Schiavone puts it up and misses it to the right. Took a bad bounce on Maypray. Leaves the ball at the 2, and now Maypray with flags down is taken down at the 6-yard line. No points for the Eskimos, who trail 3-0 here at home.
Well, the missed field goal goes on Derek Schiavone's stats line, but he's not solely responsible for this one. A little bit of trouble with the snap from the Eskimos' new long snapper, Tim St. Pierre, which gave Jason Moss trouble getting it down, threw off the timing a little bit. That one ends up wide right. Big story here in Edmonton as St. Pierre won out in the battle for that long snapper job over veteran Taylor Inglis. The Eskimos like St. Pierre's ability to cover on special teams as well.
Alouettes start from their own 8. Calvillo in the shotgun. 4-man rush. Calvillo over the top. He's got Watkins. He got bumped and flags are down. He got tangled up with Edmonton defensive back Lenny Walls, and 2 officials threw flags at the 45-yard line.
Kerry Watkins is just on a straight go route, using that speed straight down the field. Lenny Walls never turns to look for the football. He's just reacting to Kerry Watkins reaching for that ball.
Forward pass interference. Edmonton, number 47. Applied at the spot of the foul. First down.
They're calling Maurice Lloyd, but they meant Lenny Walls. And as a result, the gain is 36 yards and a quick Montreal first down.
We've seen both teams go vertical early here.
And again, Calvillo from the shotgun has time. Goes underneath, and there's the catch by Ben Cahoon up to midfield and to the 54-yard line. The Alouettes have not had a great deal of success in Edmonton. 0-3 in their last visits here. They've lost 5 of their last 6 here.
Well, they'll do just fine if they continue to get execution like this. Watch the rub by number 81, Kerry Watkins. He prevents the middle linebacker, Maurice Lloyd, from being able to follow Ben Cahoon as he crosses the field. That leaves Cahoon wide open underneath for Anthony Calvillo to hit him.
On first down, Calvillo wants to go up top, goes underneath instead, and once again, the catch by Cahoon And a gain of 5 to the 49-yard line. Alouettes next week will be in BC, and fascinating for all the success the Alouettes have had. Edmonton and BC are black holes for them. In their last 7 visits to those cities, they're 0-7.
I think a number of teams are going to be watching closely this year to see if maybe that all the trouble they had in Vancouver had anything to do with the dome, hoping that the outdoors of Empire Field might bring them a little bit more luck.
On 2nd and 5. Calvillo guns it underneath, and it's incomplete to Cahoon. That'll bring up 3rd down. Alouettes, by the way, will stay here in Edmonton for a few days and then head over to Vancouver. So a rarity in football, a 2-game road trip.
Well, we've hit that point in the season. We see the Calgary Stampeders doing the same thing in the East right now, playing the Hamilton Tiger Cats yesterday, staying in the Hamilton area before taking on the Toronto Argonauts at Rogers Centre on Wednesday night.
Schuyler and Gons are back to receive the punt from Damon Duval. He booms it over the head of Schuyler and through the back of the end zone. Duval unloads with a 69-yard single, and the Alouettes lead by 4. The CFL on TSN is brought to you in part by Nissan. Shift the way you move. Ricky Ray and the Edmonton Eskimos have held the Alouettes to 4 points here in the first quarter, but have nothing to show for themselves thus far. First down from their 35-yard line, and the give goes to Archie Whitlock. Whitlock has some room. Out across the 50, still going. Whitlock up to the 54-yard line. A pickup of 18 yards.
Archie Whitlock, who rattled off 116 rushing yards last week against the BC Lions, continues his strong start to the 2010 season. Absolutely shakes the free safety, Etienne Boulay, in space here. Bursts it to the outside, little spin move. We talked so much last week watching Archie Whitlock about his ability in small spaces.
And again on first down, this time play action, and Ricky Ray goes across the field to Ephraim Hill, and it's incomplete.
Look at that Edmonton offense. Kelly Campbell, their leading receiver last week. Thrilled to have Campbell back in the lineup, of course, after he missed the entire 09 season, pursuing NFL opportunities. The O-line, this is a group they wanted to start the year. They get Aaron Fiacconi back at center. He missed week 1 due to injury, but he makes his first start of the new year.
Our last brought to you by Rona, proud sponsor of the CFL. Rona doing it right. And Ricky Ray under pressure goes it underneath to Kelly Campbell. Campbell fights for yardage and gets down to the 43-yard line. Marcus Dell made the tackle, but not before. Campbell has a pickup of 13 yards and another Edmonton first down.
Campbell led the Eskimos with 6 receptions last week. 8 receptions, 75 yards last week. That despite sitting out a lot of the fourth quarter due to some serious cramping in his rib cage.
And didn't play in the preseason. So as his coach Richie Hall said, he looked great, but he's got a long way to go in terms of conditioning. First down, Ray with time, looks over the top, has a man, stands, makes the catch, touchdown! 43 yards, and the Eskimos take the lead.
We saw this Montreal defense give up some big plays last week. No doubt the Edmonton Eskimos saw a few weaknesses as they watched game tape.
An Edmonton team that had only 2 offensive plays of more than 20 yards last week has a 43-yard touchdown here in the first quarter. And now Schiavone for the point after. It is good, and the Edmonton Eskimos have grabbed a 7-4 lead here in the first quarter, thanks to the touchdown catch from Fred Stantz, his first of the year. Fred Stamps had 2 touchdown catches against the Alouettes in the last meeting between these two teams. It was an Edmonton Eskimo victory. Led the CFL in receiving yards last year. And has them on top after a 43-yard touchdown here. A year ago this week, the Eskimos started a rookie safety against the Montreal Alouettes, and the Alouettes made them pay with a lopsided 50-16 win. Another short kickoff. And once again, fielded by the Alouettes. This time, lineman Jeff Robertshaw on the kickoff return.
Yeah, I think the Eskimos feel pretty comfortable with Robertshaw handling those ones. I'll tell you, they feel pretty comfortable with this matchup from Fred Stamps. He starts deep in the backfield. He's going to go in motion. The Eskimos know they've got man coverage as the halfback Gerald Brown followed him in motion all the way across the formation. Going to see a little stutter step right there from Fred Stamps. That gets Brown's hips turned to the outside, and then he's chasing, and Fred Stamps is not a guy you want to be chasing.
Calvillo gives it off to Coburn. Avon Coburn out across the 50 to the 52-yard line. And a gain of 6 yards.
Avon Coburn, 44, Marcus Selly making the tackle. Coburn picks up close to 6 yards on the play.
Avon Coburn, 13 rushing touchdowns. A year ago, he was a CFL All-Star for the Alouettes.
Montreal 51.
Coburn is one of those guys who does everything well. One of the best receiving running backs in the Canadian Football League. And for all those touchdowns he scored, a guy who gets just as much pleasure from dishing out a punishing block, too.
On 2nd and 4, Calvillo steps up, drops it underneath. The pass is incomplete. He was looking there for Terry Watkins, but once again, the Alouettes will force the punt. And thus far, this Edmonton defense has hung in pretty well.
Well, they do a tremendous job of something you don't see happen very often, getting pressure on Anthony Calvillo. All sorts of heat, hurries up that throw. The Eskimos send linebacker right up the middle. Calvillo forced to step up and hurry that throw. Unable to connect with Watkins.
Schuyler drops the football at the 18-yard line, gets buried right away, and that was a problem for the Edmonton Eskimos last week. Skylar Green had trouble hanging on to the football. So Skylar Green, a loss of a couple on that punt, a 40-yard kick, and the Eskimos will start at their own 19-yard line.
Well, Skylar Green is the Eskimos' primary kick returner, at least for the foreseeable future. They had Tristan Jackson on their 9-game injured list. Jackson looked like he was going to be ready to possibly return early, but because the Eskimos had to bring Derek Schiavone off that 9-game injured list early, it means they can only bring one player off early in each half of the season.
Right.
With Schiavone coming off early, that means Tristan Jackson's going to have to stay there at least until midseason.
Play action. Ricky Ray swings it up to Kelly Campbell. And Campbell is tripped up almost immediately by defensive back Billy Parker. He's got a gain of close to 10 yards. It is 10 and a first down for the Eskimos.
Kelly Campbell having another busy Sunday evening. They're working in tandem with Kamau Peterson. Gets a little bit of a rub, picking off the defender, Billy Parker.
One thing we've seen so far this week is lots of time for Ricky Ray, who was sacked 5 times by the Lions last week. Gibson off to R.T. Whitlock, who fights his way through that Montreal defense. And that's a gain of 9 up to the 39-yard line.
R.T. Whitlock just kind of disappears into this mass of white jerseys in cartoon-like fashion. Somehow manages to squirt out the other side of the pile.
Actually marked as a gain of 8. It'll bring up 2nd down and 2. And the Alouettes did look leaky at times last week against Saskatchewan.
50-plus points, I would say, qualifies as a little leaky.
The give goes back to Whitlock. Huge hole for R.T. Whitlock. Big collision with safety exits away. He crosses midfield and gets to the Montreal 53-yard line. A gain of 19 yards for R.T. Whitlock.
This is a great cutback by R.T. Whitlock. His play starts off with the front side going to the right, and then he's going to bend it back as he reads that blocking scheme. Slides in, takes the handoff, John Bowman pursues hard down inside. The entire Alouette front got washed that way. Whitlock recognized that, bounces it back to the left for a nice gain.
Takes a breather now as Calvin McCarthy comes in. And Ray will throw on first down under pressure, just unloads it as he had a ton of pressure. Coming on the blitz was Mark Estelle from the corner and Anwar Stewart from the defensive end position.
The Alouettes are a team that finds creative ways to pressure opposing quarterbacks. Defensive coordinator Tim Burke, certainly one of the most respected in the business.
McCarty remains in on 2nd and long for the Eskimos from the Montreal 53. And from the shotgun, lots of time. Ray over the top. He's got Stamps, a first down to the 36-yard line. Fred Stamps with another big gain for the Eskimos, 17 yards to move the sticks.
So they ended up with a lot of room in the second level here to throw to Fred Stamps. There's this switch defense on. Nice passing lane once again from that Eskimos offensive line. Number 52, the weak side linebacker, Ramon Guzman, had dropped back as a second free safety along with Etienne Boulay on that play.
Stamps has
room underneath.
59 receiving yards here in the first quarter. McCarty will fight for a couple down to the 35-yard line as we're into the final seconds now of the opening quarter.
And goes to number 31, Calvin McCarty.
Calvin McCarty getting some touches.
He gets the ball down to
Whitlock's early workload. They have dictated that he take a bit of a break.
Alouettes lost starting safety Matthew Prue early in the football game. Of course, the Eskimos are playing with rookie Salim Borja at the safety position. Ray tugs it down there to Campbell to the 25-yard line. Should have another first down. And it is. That'll be the final play of the opening quarter as the Eskimos are driving again, leading 7-4 after 15 minutes. First quarter stats brought to you by Tim Hortons, proud sponsor of the CFL. The Edmonton Eskimos open with 186 yards in total offense in the opening quarter of the football game. Just 61 for the Alouettes. Dwayne, Richie Hall made it very clear he wanted more emotion and more aggressiveness from his team after a very disappointing performance in week 1 at home against BC.
Well, and those two things, Gord, aggressiveness and emotion go hand in hand. You look at the Eskimos, and we talked about this, just 2 plays of over 20 yards last week. Well, now there have been some plays to get a little bit excited about, both for the guys on the field and on the sidelines. The play calling is having an effect. They're managing to manufacture, if you will, a little bit of emotion.
And they're on the move again with a first down at the Montreal 25-yard line. Play fake to McCarty, and now they dump it off underneath to him, and Calvin McCarty has room. Down to the 16-yard line, a gain of 9.
Well, offensive football is all about isolating defenders, picking one guy, putting him in a tough spot. In this case, that guy is Jermaine McElveen, defensive lineman. He's the end who gets caught up. He's got to decide, do I take Ricky Ray or do I hang back and try to play the screen? He commits to trying to pressure Ricky Ray into throwing the football. The result is an easy dump to Calvin McCarty underneath for a 9-yard gain.
8th play of the drive. Second and short. Ray fakes, throws down to Stamps. He's got it. Stamps fighting to get loose. Is finally hauled down by Billy Parker, but it's a first down at the Montreal 5-yard line.
So when people talk about Ricky Ray as a passer, everybody talks about textbook form and everything else. Well, this play is just about getting it done, getting the ball there. Ricky Ray has a defender in his face. It's Shea Emery, the middle linebacker, on the blitz. Ricky Ray is off balance throwing this ball, but he knows Fred Stamps is going to come open on his break. He's throwing to the spot where he knows Stamps is going to be. Great composure by Ricky Ray in the face of that pressure.
Ricky Whitlock back in the game, gets a yard as he's tripped up by Anwar Stewart. That'll bring up second and goal from the 4. Of all the remarkable things about Ricky Ray, Dwayne, he's the Eskimos' all-time leader in attempts, completions, almost every major passing stat. He's also their single-season leader in passing yards. This is a franchise that had some great quarterbacks. Tom Wilkinson, Warren Moon, Matt Dunnigan, Damon Allen, Tracy Ham. Ricky Ray stands above them all, not just in his career, but for a single season. Second and goal from the 4. Ray to the corner of the end zone. Incomplete. He was looking there for Ephraim Hill. It'll bring up third and goal from the 4-yard line. And Derek Chavoni in the field goal unit will come on.
Well, for as well as the Eskimos have played offensively here, this is one area where they had some issues last week where they certainly would have liked to have had a little bit more success this time out once they get in close. We talked about the meltdown last week from the 1-yard line. Here's another situation where the Eskimos fail to punch it in.
Chavoni, a late replacement for Noel Prefontaine. Puts it up and through, and the Edmonton Eskimos extend their lead, now up by 6 in the second quarter.
Well, Derek Chavoni nailed his last field goal attempt. Had a little bit of trouble with his first couple of kicks during the Eskimos pregame warm-up, hitting a goalpost and going wide. But the veteran, his mentor, Noel Prefontaine, comes over with a few words of advice. Problem solved right down the middle. Thank you for the help.
Derek Chavoni, a native of Fort Erie, Ontario. And shockingly, you have not yet mentioned that he's a graduate of the University of Western Ontario. First down for the Alouettes from their 35, and this is a quick toss to Richardson. And Jamel Richardson has a gain of 5 yards up to the 40-yard line.
We mentioned the Eskimos with rookie free safety Sal Borhat making his first career start. But instead of the Alouettes being the team going deep, it's been the Edmonton Eskimos playing long ball.
Borhat's backup, by the way, is Corbin Sharoon, who is dressing for his first Canadian Football League game. So compared to him, Borhat is a grizzled veteran. On second down, pump fake, Calvillo over the top. He's got Watkins, and he's got the ball down to the Edmonton 41-yard line. What a catch by Kerry Watkins, a gain of 29.
Kerry Watkins continues to show his big playability in this Alouette offense, often overshadowed by Ben Cahoon and Jamel Richardson. But Kerry Watkins continues to be the man they go to when they need to go deep.
You're tempted to say spectacular catch there, but I think S.J. Green retired the trophy last week against Saskatchewan.
Yeah, the standard has been set pretty high in that Montreal locker room.
First down from the 41. Lots of time for Calvillo. Has a man, Avon Coburn. He's got a first down to the 11-yard line. And it's Borhat on the coverage. But a pickup of 30 yards. And now Mark Rastelli is down for the Edmonton Eskimos, clutching his left knee.
Rastelli involved in that big collision with Coburn and the free safety, Borhat. Coburn comes wide open down the seam. Rastelli coming in.
Rastelli's left knee buckled right away.
Number 44 will come in from the right side. His left knee
hyperextends. So Rastelli receiving attention and will step out from Commonwealth Stadium for a moment. Mark Rastelli continues to receive attention on the field here at Commonwealth Stadium after injuring his left knee. Here's Ryan Rashad.
Gord, thank you. The Alouettes also being bit by the injury bug here in this second quarter. Starting safety Matthew Proulx was injured during the last sequence, came off the field. We've got word he's strained his right hamstring and will be done for the afternoon, meaning Etienne Boulay will have to sub in for him, but we're seeing both teams getting a little dinged up here in the first half, Gord.
The Alouettes are fortunate to have that depth at the free safety position with a guy like Etienne Boulay, who's been a starter in the Canadian Football League.
And of course, Greg Peach injured last week in the opening game against the BC Lions. He's on the 9-day injured list. And while we have a moment, I want to send our sympathies to the family of Oscar Kruger, who passed away this week. Longtime Edmonton Eskimo, member of their 3-in-a-row Grey Cup championship team in the 1950s. Kruger, inducted into the Edmonton Eskimo Wall of Honor, went on to become a very prominent attorney here in Edmonton and also a lawyer for the CFL Players Association. Stelly is just now up.
This will give us an opportunity to take another look at the last play. Salim Borhat, the free safety, lined up in the middle of the field. Eskimos being threatened, as Matt Dunnigan mentioned during the pregame to this game. One of the ways to test that young safety is to run seam routes on either side of him. That's going to hold him in the middle of the field. That keeps him from getting over to make a play on Avon Coburn until a step too late.
Rod Davis will take the place of Stelly in the Eskimo defensive lineup as Calvillo looks to the end zone. It's incomplete, just out of the reach of Kerry Watkins. 10.5 to go here in the second quarter. Edmonton fell behind 4-0, but has scored 10 straight points since. As Mark Trustman looks on.
The Alouettes mixing up their personnel packages a little bit. They actually had 3 running backs in the game on the last play. Darren Diedrich and Kerry Carter joining Avon Coburn. They go back to their base set. 5 receivers in the game.
On second down, Calvillo can't find anyone open. He'll run. And Calvillo inside the 5, down to the 2-yard line, and very close to a Montreal Alouette first down.
Nice unspoken communication here by some of the Alouette receivers as Anthony Calvillo started to take off with this ball. Keep an eye on the running back, Avon Coburn, on this play. He's going to pick up Avi Glad on the blitz right in the middle. That creates a bit of a lane, and then to the right side of the screen, a good job by Jamel Richardson.
And it is third down and just inches for the Alouettes. And it is third down. Last week in Saskatchewan, both Mark Trestman, his coaching staff, and quarterback Anthony Calvillo lost track of the downs and wound up inadvertently gambling on third down right before the end of the half. Third and short for the Alouettes with 10 to go in the second quarter. Montreal has lost its last 3 visits here. Hammered the Eskimos in Montreal a year ago this week. And the game is Ricky Santos. And Santos on the second effort, he'll go and touchdown Montreal. Ricky Santos pushes his way in, and the Alouettes have regained the lead.
Ricky Santos shows shades of Adrian McPherson, the Alouettes' usual short yardage quarterback, a guy who racked up a lot of rushing yards last year by breaking through on some quarterback sneaks. But the Eskimos just demonstrate some shoddy tackling here. This was one of the weaknesses last week against Jamal Robertson and the BC Lions. Nobody wraps up Ricky Santos in that pile. He just keeps the legs moving and pushes his way into the end zone.
Ball with the point after, and the Alouettes regain the lead. 11-10 the score here in the second quarter. Closed captioning of the CFL on TSN is brought to you by TELUS, proud sponsor of the CFL. Santos has his first career Canadian Football League touchdown, as you mentioned, taking the Adrian McPherson position in the Alouettes offense. And last week we saw the same thing for Edmonton. Jared Zabransky, their third-string quarterback, thought he'd scored his first touchdown, was called back on a penalty. He awaits that first score.
The Alouettes happy to be able to bring Ricky Santos back into the fold. during the preseason, particularly once they lost Adrian McPherson to injury. Santos had been with the Owls for a couple of years. Got dealt last year to Winnipeg. Bombers released him, and he made his way back to Montreal as a free agent.
Damon Duvall kicked out a good 10 yards out of bounds. Went out of the Edmonton 35-yard line, and flags fly.
Illegal kickoff out of bounds. Montreal number 15. By rule, the ball spotted at the 45. First down.
So the Eskimos will get good field position with 9.5 to go in the second quarter. Was Duvall maybe trying the same thing the Eskimos were doing with Derek Chivoni, that sort of short, high kick?
Yeah, we used to call that the moon shot. Put it up high.
Missed the moon. First down for the Eskimos, and Ricky Ray goes back to work. Lots of time. Ray looking deep for Campbell. Campbell makes the catch down the 35-yard line. And the stop is made by the safety, Etienne Boulay. But another big gain for Kelly Campbell, 31 yards.
Well, Kelly Campbell was going deep all the way here. He starts so deep in the backfield, way to the right side of your screen, because you know he wants to hit the line at full speed, and he's just going to run right by the defender, Billy Parker. Ricky Ray's primary read again. Kelly Campbell just attacking the seams, threatening the Alouette free safeties here.
First down from the Alouette 35. Ray tries the other side, and Kamau Peterson has his first catch of the game down to the 30-yard line.
Ray complete to Ray Kamau Peterson.
Pick up of 5 yards. Kelly Campbell ripping it up against Montreal.
Well, he sure has, and doing what Kelly Campbell does best, using his speed to scare the daylights out of defenses. Seen him go vertical a couple of times. Then once he starts getting that cushion, he's able to work underneath a little bit, but they do a terrific job of mixing things up, mixing up the way that they use Kelly Campbell's speed to get him open.
Already has 91 yards and catches in the game. Ray with time over the top again, looks to the corner, and it's incomplete. And Frem Hill was there, and the coverage by Deandre Dix was skin tight, and the pass ball is incomplete. That'll bring up 3rd and 5 for the Eskimos.
Hill is lined up as the widest of the 4 Eskimo receivers to that side of the field, matched up in man coverage against Deandre Dix. Dix never turns to look at the football. You hear the Eskimo faithful lobbying for a pass interference call on the play.
Now a 37-yard field goal try for Chivoni, who missed from this distance earlier. Good snap, and Chivoni punches that through, so the Edmonton Eskimos are back on top, taking the lead by 2. So back and forth they go here in the final game of week 2 of the CFL season. We're back on Wednesday with the opener of week 3 as the Calgary Stampeders go into Toronto to take on the Argonauts in their home opener. Live coverage here on TSN at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. Alouettes, by the way, won't play their home opener for a couple of weeks as there are renovations being done to their stadium in Montreal. Adding an upper deck on the south side of the stadium will look great. Of course, Commonwealth Stadium is still in the process of being renovated in preparation for this city playing host to the Grey Cup game in November. First down for the Alouettes, gunned by Anthony Calvillo down to Ben Cahoon, and Cahoon up to the 41-yard line as a gain of 6. Ben Cahoon tied for the league lead in receptions last year, but strangely enough, from his perspective, Dwayne only scored a couple of touchdowns. In fact, he has not scored a receiving touchdown in his last 7 games, including last year's postseason.
Well, it gets tough. You know, there are only so many balls to go around once you get down there in that offensive green zone when you've got Kerry Watkins getting in the end zone 8 times, Jamel Richardson 9. There's not much left for the old fella.
High snap, and the give goes to Brian Bratton, and the receiver gets out to the 43-yard line, but a solid tackle made there by Lenny Walls. The gain just a couple of the Alouettes will be a yard at least short of a first down.
Eskimo defense did a nice job there of maintaining outside leverage, not letting Brian Bratton outrun them to the sidelines.
And it appears as though the Alouettes will gamble on 3rd and a yard.
So many places on the field where we call a 3rd and 1 a no-brainer in the Canadian Football League, with that 1-yard neutral zone that the defense has to allow from the line of scrimmage. But in their own territory, their own 44-yard line here, perhaps a little risky.
Santos is back in, trying to draw the Eskimos offside. And now they'll take a time count violation and punt.
Time count violation. Montreal number 4. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
Has that ever worked? Seriously, has that ever worked, trying to draw the opposition offside on 3rd down?
Occasionally, but you sure hope as a defensive team that everybody out there is yelling, don't go offside, watch the ball. That one from Montreal's point of view, clearly as they take the time count, their only strategy there was to try and draw them offside. They weren't going to run a play.
Skyler Green back to receive the punt, and Duvall angles it away from him. Green from the 33-yard line. And flags are down as he was wrapped up quickly on the play by Montreal's Paul Woldou. A 40-yard punt, a 7-yard return as the Alouettes and Eskimos continue to do battle. And of course, in the 80s, the Edmonton Eskimos were the dominant team in the Canadian Football League. Montreal.
Unnecessary roughness. Montreal number 11. 15 yards is applied at the end of the play. First down.
Chip Cox got called for unnecessary roughness. You see Grey Cup appearances, Grey Cup wins. These are the two teams that dominated their respective decades. The Eskimos, by the way, weren't half bad in the 70s either. Nor were the Alouettes in some of the most memorable Grey Cup games ever played. In Calgary in 1975.
A lot of meetings between the two, as you mentioned, in that decade. And it kind of seemed like the 2000s were starting the same way as these two teams faced each other in the Grey Cup 3 times in a 4-year span. The duels between Anthony Calvillo and Ricky Ray becoming somewhat legendary.
Big penalty to Cox gives the Eskimos a first down at the Montreal 54-yard line. Fake to Whitlock, and they'll swing it out there to the fullback, Matthew Bertrand. Bertrand has a gain of 8 as he gets down to the 46-yard line.
We're going to go back and take a quick look at the penalty called on Chip Cox. Way out of the play, far away from the ball. Gets locked up, pulls the Eskimo blocker down, appeared by his face mask. Far away from the ball, but still right in front of an official.
Second and short, Ray has time. And he's looking deep. Fred Stamps makes the catch. And Fred Stamps is out of bounds at the 4-yard line. Once again, the safety Etienne Goulet saved the touchdown. It's a gain of 42 yards for Stamps.
Well, between Fred Stamps and Kelly Campbell, the Montreal Alouette halfback Billy Parker, and in this case Gerald Brown, have had their hands full trying to deal with Edmonton slot backs. Stamps does a nice job using the right hand to gain some separation from the defender. Brown as the ball is in the air.
Stamps already has 112 yards receiving and a touchdown. And we've got over 4 minutes to play in the first half. First and goal from the 4. Ray to the corner of the end zone. Hand fighting down there between Hill and Mark Estelle, and the pass goes incomplete.
Well, Edmonton, with some of these bombs they're throwing, kind of looks like they need those receivers to get into the end zone for them, as every time they get in close, they suddenly seem to struggle offensively for as well as they've done pretty well everything else when they've had the ball today.
Putting up some big numbers against this Alouette defense. Second and goal from the 4. pressure, guns it in, incomplete. It was knocked down by Gerald Brown, who took that away from Fred Stam. And Gerald Brown, who has been burned a couple of times here in the first half, comes up with a big defensive play.
Well, that's the life of a defensive back. Not completely unlike being a goalie in hockey. You've got to have a short memory. You know you're going to get beaten every now and then, particularly with some of the receivers in this Canadian Football League. Shake off the last one, be ready for the next one. That's what Gerald Brown did very well.
And on comes Schiavone for a short field goal try, just 11 yards. He's made 2 from 11 and 1 from 37. And the Edmonton Eskimos extend their lead. Now up 16-11 here in the second quarter. And coming up at halftime, CFL Live at the half with Dave Randor, Chris Schultz, Jock Whiting, Matt Dunnigan. What a week 2 in the Canadian Football League last night. That beautiful new Empire Field in Vancouver. We'll be there next Friday night for the Alouettes and the Lions. Can't wait to see that. Big game between the Ticats and the Stampeders yesterday that you did.
Yeah, it sure was. Came right down to the wire. Battle of the kickers. Rob Maver, the rookie from the University of Guelph, nailing the winner.
From the 35-yard line, Calvillo slings it out. And the pass is caught by Jamel Richardson up at the 39-yard line. Gain of about 4 yards, and the 3-minute warning has arrived. We'll return to Edmonton and the CFL on TSN right after this. Thursday, TSN has live coverage of the opening round of the Open Championship from the home of golf, St. Andrews. It all starts at 4 a.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. Pacific.
You know, Gord, being the golf aficionado that I am, I can't help wondering, why don't they call it the British Open?
Well, some over here do, but they take offense over there. It's their Open Championship. Calvillo on second down under pressure, and he is dropped. Taken down by Andre Coleman. And once again, the Alouettes will be forced to punt.
Big Andre Coleman gets a tremendous push up the middle here. Number 78, the defensive tackle. Just takes the inside shoulder and a nice rip move, driving his right arm through the inside shoulder of the guard, Luc Brodeur-Jourdain.
You know, the Eskimo defense was pretty good last week. But Paul McCallum is off the scoring 6 field goals. Flags are down as Duvall was taken down. The punt goes out of bounds. And a flag down at the 44-yard line. That's for the illegal punt. But the question is, what's the penalty as Duvall was taken down?
It's going to be an automatic first down. Duvall still had the leg in the air when he was hit by the Eskimo defender.
Murray Clark with the call.
We'll get another look. Lenny Walls is one of 3 Eskimos converging.
Foul, roughing the kicker. Edmonton. Illegal kick out of bounds. Montreal number 15. We'll go up 5 yards and it'll be a first down.
So there you have it. It's a first down for the Alouettes at their own 38-yard line. Duvall might have gone a bit Brazilian there with the the spill to the field, but by the way, in a day when football of another kind is very much in the spotlight,
There's only one kind of football, Gord.
worth remembering, Dwayne, that in this very stadium, Pele, Johan Cruyff, Franz Beckenbauer all played as visiting players in the North American Soccer League in the other kind of football. First down Alouettes from the 38-yard line. Calvillo under pressure. Now drops it underneath, and once again the catch is made. As fighting his way out across the 50-yard line is Ben Cahoon for a gain of 13 yards. Another Montreal first down. Ben Cahoon, by the way, is 51 catches shy from Terry Vaughn's CFL record for most career receptions.
Well, Maurice Lloyd doing his best to try and take this one away. He's calling as Cahoon is crossing the field, pointing, indicating that Cahoon is coming. But nobody was really there waiting to pick him up.
Ben Cahoon has made a lot of mortgage payments with that route. First down, Alouettes. Calvillo with time over the top looking for Richardson. And that's incomplete as he was followed step for step by Chris Thompson.
Once again, point out that's one of the few deep shots that the Montreal Alouettes have taken. So much talk about the Eskimos starting a rookie at free safety. But the reality is, as the fellows talked about in the pregame, Anthony Calvillo is a quarterback. He's going to go through his reads. He's not looking at the lineup trying to pick out a weak link. He figures he's got an offensive system. It works pretty well for him, and he's just going to run it.
Matt Dunnigan almost spit on his teeth when he heard that.
Matty always was a bit of a bully, though.
Second down and 10. The pass almost intercepted by Maurice Lloyd, who had nothing but green field turf in front of him.
Mo Lloyd is going to sneak out from the right side of your screen, number 47, right at the right edge. Tremendous recognition from the Eskimo linebacker. He's reading Anthony Calvillo's mail on that one.
And Duvall will once again come on to punt. Alouettes have been held to 123 passing yards here in the first half. Skylar Green is back deep. From the 17-yard line, Green bottled up almost immediately and thrown down for a loss by Montreal's Michael Giffen. So Ricky Ray goes to work, 234 yards passing and a touchdown already in the first half of this football game. And Ricky Ray was as critical of himself as anyone after that game against the BC Lions last week. Even the Eskimos had to push the ball up the field, so time of possession's great. Long drives are great, but we need to make plays.
It's been a theme for the Eskimos the last couple of seasons. They've talked a lot about being more aggressive offensively. Today, they've certainly lived up to that.
Well, counterplay to Archie Whitlock, and he got turned around very quickly. Jermaine McElveen, that's a pickup of about 3 yards.
That play called the draw is something the Eskimos do to try and keep those pass rushers honest, as Edmonton has had so much success throwing the football. Yet the Montreal defenders becoming more and more aggressive in terms of their rushes upfield. So it's not necessarily about breaking off a big play, but just one of those play calls you can make to help yourself out in the passing game.
Second and long. Here comes the blitz from Chip Cox, and throwing around it was Ricky Ray, who completes that. Down to Kelly Campbell up to the 23-yard line, and we're well short of a first down, and the Eskimos will be forced to punt.
Well, this one ultimately is just a long throw for a 5-yard gain. Chip Cox right in the bottom left corner of your screen is coming on the blitz. He's picked up late by the left guard Kyle Koch, who tries to pop out. But by that point, he's already well into the peripheral vision of the quarterback, Ricky Ray. He knows he's got to throw that ball sooner than he wants to.
This is Schiavone's first punt of the game as he stands at his own 10-yard line. And Tim Maypray stands at his own 45 waiting. Low snap. And off the side of Schiavone's foot. The ball bounces down to Chip Cox, and Cox gets inside the 43-yard line. Flags are down as well, so some yards will be added at the end of that return. Just a 27-yard punt by Schiavone.
With that short kick and the ball bouncing, nice heads-up play by the veteran Chip Cox to scoop it up rather than waiting for his returners to come forward and get it and draw that no yards flag.
No yards. Edmonton, number 18. That penalty is declined. First down.
Why would you decline that penalty?
It's a bit better on the return.
What's he added on? Oh, it's the 5-yard. It's the 5-yard.
Because it was bouncing.
From the 45-yard line, first down for Calvillo. Guns it down there, dropped by Kerry Watkins, and Calvillo turns around in disgust as the normally reliable Kerry Watkins drops one.
So he has got Watkins just on a quick hook outside receiver to the short side of the field. Gets zone coverage, pushes up, sits down, drops the ball.
Second drop pass from Watkins here in the first half. Now early movement. Cahoon went across the line quickly. So did Bratton. And the Alouettes moving themselves back. And potentially out of field goal range.
Sort of malfunction we're not used to from the usually finely tuned Alouette offensive unit.
By the Alouettes media guide this year does not say Grey Cup champions. There are no pictures of the Grey Cup on the cover. And of course the Alouettes do not discuss the fact that they won the Grey Cup last year.
Well, that's the mentality of Mark Trestman. This is the 2010 Alouettes. It doesn't matter what happened in '09.
Except they have Grey Cup rings the size of hubcaps.
Offside. Montreal number 18. 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
They're calling Richardson for the offside. And push the Alouettes back to the Edmonton 50-yard line. 2nd and 15. From the shotgun. Here comes the rush. Calvillo dumps it off and complete to the fullback, Terry Carter, who gets down to the 45-yard line before Maurice Lloyd buried him. It'll be 3rd down now for the Alouettes and a long field goal try for Damon Duval.
A lot of talk last season.
Timeout, Edmonton.
That perhaps Maurice Lloyd had a little bit of an off year. His first year as an Eskimo after coming over as a free agent from Saskatchewan, but indication today is that Maurice Lloyd is back in a big way. 47 has just been around the ball, it seems, on virtually every play.
Where Richie Hall knows well from his days in Saskatchewan. So the Alouettes haven't yet given an indication of what they're going to do, but it is now the field goal unit that comes on as you see the holder Ben Cahoon come out. So this will be a try of 50 yards for Damon Duval, CFL's all-star kicker of a year ago. Down, and Duval misses to the left. Skylar Green will bring it out. Here he comes, Green. Out across the 20. Flags are down, and Green is tripped up at the 29-yard line as Cahoon made the tackle. Almost the 7th return touchdown in the early going this season. But there are flags down on the play.
On the return, holding. Edmonton number 18. 10-yard penalty. First down.
T.J. Hill, the former Montreal Alouette, called on the hold. The Eskimos will push back to their own 10-yard line with 34 seconds to go in the first half.
We've become so used to Ben Cahoon making big catches, but how about the big tackle? Jason Goss looking to block number 86, Cahoon. He's a man who steps up, looks like it would have made a pretty good free safety if he didn't have such great hands.
Well, if Boulay gets hurt, he may have to. Alouettes already without safety Matthew Pruill, who was shaken up early in this game, will not return. Give to Archie Whitlock, and he's up to the 13-yard line, a gain of 3.
Timeout, Montreal.
Now the Alouettes will stop the clock with 31 seconds left.
Well, knowing they've got the Eskimos backed up deep, one more opportunity to get the ball back could get them a chance to attempt another field goal.
After Chabonne's bad punt earlier as well, so you've got the inexperienced punter. So a much different result for Ricky Ray and the Eskimos in the opening half is the touchdowns are critical and the points.
Well, he's already exceeded his total passing yards from the entire game last week by 10.
Clock won't start until the ball is snapped. And now on second down, give it back to Whitlock. And he was wrapped up very quickly. McElveen was there, along with John Banks. And so now the Eskimos will be forced to punt with 27 seconds to go in the opening half. And alert use of the timeout by the Alouettes.
Pressure is on. Punter Derek Schiavone here come up with a stronger effort than his last. Try and push the Alouettes back out of field goal range. Tough situation when you're the Eskimos and you'd like to throw the ball and try and get a first down, but you don't want that risk of the incomplete pass stopping the clock.
Tim Maypray stands at midfield, and a much better kick this time by Schiavone. Maypray from his own 54-yard line goes out of bounds. 6 seconds to go in the first half. A 41-yard punt from Derek Schiavone.
Well, Schiavone did what he needed to do, pushing the Eskimos back to midfield. Pushing the Alouettes, rather, back to midfield. Likely see them try to run one play, quick out to move the ball up a little bit and stop the clock before Damon Duval comes back out.
So a day of intrigue for the Edmonton Eskimos, who have a rookie starting safety, an inexperienced kicker, and coming off a devastating home loss in week 1 and facing the defending Grey Cup champions, even if they won't admit it. Calvillo looks underneath the Cahoon, and Cahoon will add to his receiving totals in the first half, get down to the Edmonton 46-yard line. 1.1 seconds left, and the Alouettes, if they wanted, could try a 53-yard, maybe a 54-yard field goal from here if they want. The wind is in the face of the Alouettes, and they elect not to send the field goal unit on the field. Should be the final play of the first half. Lots of time. Calvillo slings it down, and the pass is intercepted. A great leaping catch by Chris Thompson, who ends the first half with an Edmonton Eskimo interception. And Edmonton leads by 5 after 30 minutes here at Commonwealth Stadium.
Welcome back. This was prior to the opening kickoff. That is Patrick Kabongo. Schulte, I asked you what he was saying. What was he saying again?
Man, he's challenging them right now to get their act together and play better football, and they've responded. What a first half for Edmonton.
Whatever Patrick Kabongo was actually saying there, probably none of it which could be shown on television or heard on television, it worked. It worked. This is a great response by the Eskimos. I mean, they're not blowing the Montreal Alouettes out. Dave, Jock, Matt, and Chris. This was a real dangerous game for the Edmonton Eskimos. They did not look good at home last week. They're opening their season with 2 straight home games. They're going on the road to Saskatchewan next week. We all know how well you have to play against Montreal, and they are doing that. They've not allowed any sacks. They got 5 sacks against last week. Ricky Ray has already surpassed his passing yardage from last week. Where do we start? Let's start with Kelly Campbell.
Why don't we?
A guy who did not play a football game last season, and he's made 2 incredible catches over the middle. That's not easy when you haven't played a lot of ball, right?
Yeah, 6 catches for 104 yards. And you asked that question off camera. You know,
I often do.
You do, and
yes.
I usually don't have an answer for you, but I have an answer here, which is yes. You go 2 years without playing football, it's very difficult. He went to Tampa last year, got hurt, and didn't play a lick. And now here he is. He's obviously the go-to guy, and he hasn't lost his awareness and understanding of the game. Lots of young receivers would just head down the seam, straight down the seam, and get their head taken off by the safety. On the seam route, you have a landmark, and Kelly Campbell understands that, and watch him widen. Right off the hash here, and that is where he's supposed to be, and this is what saves him and what results in the ball being completed. He does the exact same thing on this play. And again, you have a landmark, but you get forced inside. Watch how he gets forced inside, but then he bounces back outside. And coaches will tell their receivers time and time again to do this, and yet many receivers don't and wind up getting killed. And he does a great job there widening. Now, here's a small thing, but it's such an important thing. So many receivers in this situation needing 5 yards for the first down will start dipsy-doodling, cutting back, trying to find a way through. Not Kelly Campbell. Watch what he does. Boom. Nice it. That's what you got to do as a receiver. When you need 5 yards, you need the first down, you get upfield, you know you're going to take the hit, and he does it. Ricky Ray is so happy to have this guy back on the team, and he is going to make a huge difference for the Eskimos.
You know, Jock, I'm just so surprised on who they're having success against. Because Gerald Brown and Billy Parker, you can make an argument that on a football team that they may be the two best defensive backs as a tandem. But you watch Ray here, watch the accuracy of this pass. You always say that the accuracy can always beat good coverage. Man, the way he can drop those type of seam patterns right into the receiver's hands is absolutely remarkable. Here, this one to Fred Stamps. That is against Gerald Brown. The other one was against Billy Parker. Here, this one right there. That is Gerald Brown again. And once again, Ray's attacking the two best defensive backs. There it's Billy Parker, and having success after success after success. Going into the locker room, that's going to be the conversation. We're beating their best with our best. Let's just keep it going.
Schultz, at the top of the show, we talked about Salim Borhat, the free safety, young free safety, rookie free safety, filling in for Richardson and Nugent for the Edmonton Eskimos. I think it's Boulay and Prue that have been getting picked on here in this first half. This kid has stepped up. Now, he gets stepped up early in the ball game. In fact, first carry, he gets a chance to stick his head in there. That's a good thing. And again, second carry, Mount Coburn splits it. He sticks his head in there. Now he's getting into the flow of the game. And then here, you know he's not going to be in this play. Why? Because it's an over route. He's deep, and he's not going to get burnt deep. And here, he's involved with the play. And I want to show you how far he's got to come. Now, typically, Jock, you talked about the landmark being here, 2 yards outside the hash. That's exactly right. This kid is coming from center field and hitting right here, Coburn on the outside of the numbers. He's come a long way to make this play, and a good play it was. Unfortunately, he takes out his man, Ristelli, but this kid is involved early. He hasn't been burnt deep, and that's huge for young guys. That's huge for any free safety. But I can tell you, I think Boulay and Prue are having a tougher time than this kid is right now.
And the Alouettes are having a tough time for the second straight week on the road. They up the first 3 games out in Western Canada, the Grey Cup champs. That's got to be a difficult task, Jago.
Not fair. I mean, you got to think the Alouettes. That's not fair.
Not fair. The Grey Cup champs, for crying out loud. Ricky Santos did get in for their lone touchdown. They're down by 5. Welcome back. Here are your halftime numbers brought to you by Tim Hortons, proud sponsor of the CFL.
Well, I think it's fair to say that this is a bit of a shocker, 305 to 176. But, you know, David, you made a very interesting point.
What was that?
You said that Coburn, what's up with Coburn?
Yeah.
How come he's only got 24 yards this game? How come he only had 38 yards last game? He had 1,200 yards rushing last season. What's going on with the rushing with Coburn, Dave?
That's why I asked you.
I don't know. You're the expert.
Let's see what Ryan Rashog had to ask Ricky Ray at the half.
239 yards through the air for you in that half, Ricky. Already surpassed last week's total. In your estimation, what's the biggest difference?
You know, we're just having some good play calls. We're getting ourselves into some good situations, some man situations, and we're taking some shots downfield, and right now we're hitting them.
You talked about wanting to take more shots downfield. After not such a great week last week, is it tough as an offense to have the confidence to just heave it out there?
No, you know, we just want to put ourselves into some more opportunities. Last week, we just didn't have that many opportunities. So this week, you know, we're going to take our shots, and hopefully we'll have some big plays.
Thanks, Ricky.
Yep.
Edmonton is 5-1 in their last 6 at home against the Alouettes. Brian Mudryk is here with a Sports Center update. I understand there was a soccer game today.
Yeah, it was a pretty big deal, actually, Dave. It's called the World Cup. It was the final between Spain and the Netherlands. Both these nations actually looking for their first ever championship. Actually, a record 11 yellow cards handed out. It was a bit ugly, but in the end, it was Iniesta scoring the winner for Spain. They captured their first ever World Cup. They beat the Netherlands 1-0. Jays Red Sox. Jesse Litch had a no-hitter going into the 6th inning, but the Red Sox broke that up. Back-to-back smashes from Darnell McDonald and David Ortiz. Sox take it 3-2. And Lance Armstrong's hopes of winning an 8th Tour de France took a serious blow today. He got caught up in 3 crashes during the Tour's first major climb. He's 39 after 8 stages of the race. Sports Center comes your way right after the CFL contest. We'll have the latest on Ilya Kovalchuk and where he's going. And Jonathan Taves has his day with the Stanley Cup. Dave.
Thank you, Brian. Freddie Stamps was the leading receiver in the CFL last season, and that was a beauty. A touchdown today from Ricky Ray.
After one half, Edmonton leads Montreal 16-11. Here's Ryan Rashog with Alouettes coach Mark Trestman.
Mark, what was the message to your football team at halftime about adjustments to make?
Well, we certainly took their best shot in the first half and held our own down inside the 10-yard line on a couple of occasions, which really helped us. We got to do a better job of maintaining our field position in the special teams game. We lost some hidden yardage there in the first half, and we've got to stop in the first drive, and we got to score when we get the ball back.
Thanks, Mark.
Okay. Eskimos twice stymied inside the 5-yard line of the Alouettes. And the Eskimos will open the second half with the ball and what remains of the win. Richie Hall's Edmonton Eskimos trying to avoid an 0-2 start for the first time since 1969. Ball, line drive kick. And it's fielded by Skylar Green from his 15-yard line, and Green gets out to the 35. And that's where the Edmonton Eskimos will go to work, and they have gone to work with 2 receivers lining it up. Red Stamps and Kelly Campbell.
Well, the Eskimos vowed to be more aggressive offensively. Try and threaten with that vertical game. That means using the speed of Fred Stamps and Kelly Campbell. They've done it very effectively. These guys combining for 10 catches, over 200 yards. You look at those averages. Fellas in the studio talked about it at halftime, putting a lot of pressure on Montreal free safeties. Etienne Boulay, the one now in the game.
Archie Whitlock with the carry, maybe a gain of a yard. It'll bring up second and long for the Edmonton Eskimos as Chip Cox made the stop. CFL All-Star last year for the Alouettes, the only one on their defense. Strangely enough, for the Grey Cup champions.
A lot of the Alouettes' success came by committee. I know a lot of people would make a pretty good argument for their defensive ends, Anwar Stewart and John Bowman being on that team.
My mistake, Anwar Stewart was on, so there were 2 from the Montreal defense. Ricky Ray now on second down, guns it down to Campbell, and Campbell's got a first down and more. Off and running across midfield, inside the 40, and finally pushed out of bounds. At the 35-yard line, another big gain for Kelly Campbell, 40 yards.
This play may finish with Kelly Campbell, but it starts with the blitz pickup. Middle linebacker Shea Emery is coming on a loop. Archie Whitlock's got to track all the way across the formation to make sure that gets picked up, and Ricky Ray has time to let this play to Kelly Campbell develop. Big plays are the result of all 12 men taking care of their jobs.
Audra Dix and Etienne Boulay finally forced him out of bounds. Now Ray swings it out. It's incomplete as it falls short of the fullback, Matthew Bertrand. That was the 5th play of this game for the Eskimos of more than 20 yards. They had 2 last week against the BC Lions. And Ricky Ray was talking to us yesterday about the fact that this is a big play league, and you can own the ball as long as you want, but sooner or later you got to crack it open.
Absolutely, and it speaks to the job done by the Eskimos coaching staff to address that problem in terms of their game plan this week.
First down for the 35. Ray guns it for Campbell, who climbs the ladder and makes another catch. Down to the 26-yard line for a gain of 9.
Kelly Campbell a little slow to get up. Once again, no fear of that contact as he goes up to make that play in traffic. I suspect probably that right ankle or right knee got twisted up a little bit as he came down.
So he'll make his way off the field as the Eskimos now have second and short. Correction, third and short, and they'll gamble. Bertrand Whitlock in the backfield, and they give the lead back. Bertrand first down as he vaults across the 25-yard line.
Oh, I miss the old fullback dive. I don't see it often enough in this league.
Well, there was a time when that was a staple here in Edmonton of your old friend Blake Marshall, who ran it to perfection.
Matthew Bertrand hits it at full speed. No question what he was doing. That's all execution. Nothing pretty about it. Matthew Bertrand does a lot of the dirty work for this Eskimo team, but he does it very well.
First down from the Alouette 24. Fake to Whitlock, and back they go to Ephraim Hill. And Hill dives his way down to the 21-yard line. On a gain of 3.
Marcus Dell, who missed week 1 due to injury. He's the guy who makes this play defensively, just fighting off the block of Fred Stamps to step up and make the tackle on Ephraim Hill. Stell, one of the CFL's top corners the last couple of years.
2nd and 7. Ray looks to the corner to Campbell in the end zone. Incomplete. And he was well covered on the play by Billy Parker, who had a nervous look back at the officials as there was hand fighting right at the goal line.
Well covered as Billy Parker was right with him, but still a catch that Kelly Campbell should have made. He had his hands free and actually had Parker on his back side away from the ball, but was just unable to secure it. Ricky Ray knows that that's an opportunity missed, as does the receiver, Campbell.
Derek Schiavone from the 29-yard line to extend the lead. And the field goal is good. The Edmonton Eskimos giving the Alouettes all they can handle here at Commonwealth Stadium.
We'll get another look at the battle between Kelly Campbell and Billy Parker in the end zone. Campbell runs the corner route. Good hand fighting going on between he and Billy Parker. A little clutch and grab from the DB. And the frustration of Kelly Campbell. He hits the sidelines. Chucks the lid.
First down from the 35-yard line, and the give goes to Avon Coburn, a gain of a couple. Avon Coburn came out jumping for the Alouettes in the opening quarter, but has been essentially a non-factor since. 5 carries for 25 yards in the game so far.
And this seems to be the way for the Alouette offensively sometimes, is Avon Coburn sits idle for periods, but at any given moment he can become the most dominant performer on the field.
2nd and long. Calvillo under pressure steps up, crosses the line of scrimmage, and gets buried. Rod Davis, who came on for Mark Rastelli, makes the stop.
All sorts of pressure coming on Anthony Calvillo here. The blitz from Rod Davis coming off the right edge defensively, and retraces his steps to put a big lick on Calvillo.
Skylar Green back to receive the punt from Damon Duval. Low driving kick, bounces in front of Green and out of bounds at the 36-yard line, which is where the Edmonton Eskimos will have the ball when we come back. Closed captioning of the CFL on TSN is brought to you by TELUS, proud sponsor of the CFL. Ward Miller, Dwayne Ford, Ryan Rishaug here in Edmonton, closing out week 2 of the CFL season with the Edmonton Eskimos leading Montreal 19-11 here in the 3rd quarter. Ricky Ray from the shotgun has time, swings it over the top. Fred Stamp tied up again, and this time there will be flags as an extra grab by Gerald Brown drew the attention of the official.
Stamps takes a hard inside route on his release. Tries to fight his way back outside to get to this football. On the left side of the screen, he'll be heading up the seam.
Montreal number 39. Ball will be spotted at the point of the foul. First down.
A 24-yard penalty. And you wonder if the new interpretation of the uncatchable ball might have come into play there.
Well, I think it became uncatchable because Gerald Brown made it uncatchable.
That would certainly be the argument offered by Fred Stamps. First down, Edmonton from the Montreal 49. Play fake to Whitlock. And they sling it up to Kamal Peterson, and Peterson has a first down to the Montreal 37-yard line, a gain of 12. And Kamal Peterson having a quiet day as Kelly Campbell and Fred Stamps are taking turns ripping up the Alouettes.
Yeah, I was going to say, as long as Stamps and Campbell continue doing what they're doing, I'm sure Kamal Peterson will be happy to play a quiet role here. Veteran slot back, 2008 CFL Most Outstanding Canadian Player.
Early movement and flags are down. This play will not count. By the way, talking to Kamal Peterson yesterday, I asked him, you know, Ephraim Hill and Fred Stamps both have the long hair. I said, maybe you could go to that look. He said, no.
Procedure. Edmonton number 63. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
He said, I'm a veteran. It's my job to lead by example.
First and 15 at the 43-yard line.
So the penalty goes against the Eskimos. And we'll push them back to the Alouette 43-yard line. First and 15 now. Draw play to Archie Whitlock. He's got room. Archie Whitlock, a first down, more inside the 15-yard line before he's finally tripped up by the safety, Etienne Boulay. But Archie Whitlock with a gain of 30 yards and an Edmonton Eskimo first down.
Well, one of the key blocks on this play is going to come from the center. Aaron Fiacconi making his first start. He works up to the second level to pick up the middle linebacker, Shea Emery. Number 51 secures things at the line of scrimmage, then gets up to second level. Great block there. Prevents Emery from getting into position to make a tackle. That brings Archie Whitlock into the secondary.
There he is again, Archie Whitlock. Fights his way down to the 6-yard line, and that'll put him very close to 100 yards rushing on the day. In fact, over 100. He now has 102. After Whitlock put up 116 yards last week against the BC Lions. Last year was the year of the running back in the Canadian Football League, and Archie Whitlock a big part of that story. Well documented his first game at the 3 fumbles.
Against these very same Montreal Alouettes, but doesn't seem rattled by them at all today.
Second down from the 8. Ray has time. Fires underneath. The pass is caught by Fred Stamps, and Stamps fights his way down to the 4-yard line. Very close. He'll actually mark at the 5. He'll be a yard short of the first down. So here are the Eskimos again inside the 5-yard line. Richie Hall with a decision to make, and he sends out the field goal unit.
Well, it's unfortunate that they didn't get into the end zone because Kamal Peterson on the backside of this route ran a quick slant as he headed to the post, was wide open.
Now the reasoning here is you make it a 2-score game by kicking the field goal. It's only the third quarter, but
yes. Think ahead. Not a high-scoring game really at 19-11.
Would you have gone for it here? It's a long yard.
It's a, yeah.
From the 11. And Schiavone puts it through again from short yardage, and the Edmonton Eskimos now lead by 11.
Well, unfortunately, Ricky Ray's progression of reads on this play didn't get far enough to take him to the Kamal Peterson on the backside as Fred Stamps popped open early. But on the backside, Kamal Peterson is running a quick slant route on his defender, gets to the inside, and he's wide open for a quick hitter here as he gets inside position on his defender, Chip Cox. But Ray never made it that far in the reads.
Shimoni with another high, short kickoff, taken by Maypre at his 20. And Maypre bursts through. Out across the 50, and he's finally brought down by the Eskimos, Jason Goss, but not before a return of 34 yards. Gives the Alouettes great field position at their own 53-yard line.
Gord, you mentioned last year being year of the running back. Seems like 2010 is starting to shape up as the year of the returner. So many guys having an impact in the early going.
Of course, Maypre taking the place of the departed Larry Taylor.
And winning the job over Chad Owens, who got traded to the Argonauts and already has 2 return TDs on the year.
First down from the Alouette 53. Calvillo's under pressure, falls. And credit for the sack will likely go to Edmonton's Maurice Lloyd. Either him or Kenny Petway.
Well, when Mo Lloyd puts together his highlight reel at the end of the season, this sack may not be on it. He'll just include it in the final numbers.
And he and Petway might fight over it.
Hey, way to sell it. You got to sell it.
Second and very long. Dumped underneath Avon Coburn. We'll get back to the original line of scrimmage. A gain of 10 yards, tackled on the play by Edmonton's Kai Ellis, the former Montreal Alouette. And once again, the Owls will have to punt. By the way, you may be thinking it's been a long time given the Owls' success since they lost their first 2 games of the season. 2007. Dropped their first 2 games of the year.
Very interesting.
But facing the possibility of going to BC 0-2. Playing a city that was giving them fits, if not the stadium. Flags are down as the return by Green is stymied at the 22-yard line. Eskimos go to Saskatchewan next week. Take on the 2-0 Rough
On the
Riders.
return, holding. Edmonton 35. 10-yard penalty. First down.
So Weldon Brown called for the hold. And that will move the Eskimos back inside their 15-yard line. They'll start at their own 13.
We heard Mark Trestman tell Ryan Rishaug at halftime about losing ground in the field position battle due to some of what went on in special teams. Talked about that hidden yardage. This penalty gives them an opportunity to gain some of that back and perhaps give their offense a short field if the defense can come up with a stand here.
Ray is up and swinging. Looks over the top for Campbell, and once again flags fly. And this time Billy Parker will be called for pass interference. Similar to the last drive for the Eskimos where Fred Stamps drew a pass interference call early on. Same thing happens here.
Well, Billy Parker was all over Kelly Campbell on this one.
Montreal number 17. Spotted at the point of the foul. First down.
Now remember, Parker had the grab on Campbell in the end zone a few minutes ago. And it's a 17-yard penalty that moves the Eskimos up to their own 30-yard line. Gorgeous Sunday night here in Edmonton. The Eskimos leading by 11 points in the third quarter. Ray once again swinging. Once again flags are down.
Once again, an Eskimo slot back is beating a Montreal halfback.
Gerald Brown this time. If Gerald Brown couldn't spell Stamps before, he can now. He's been reading it all day.
Montreal number 39. Spotted at the point of the foul. First down.
Well, once again, this all starts at the line of scrimmage. Solid job with blitz pickup by the big boys up front. As Fred Stamps tries to break away from Gerald Brown, there is no hiding that clutch. He grabbed the shoulder. Not so subtle.
Marquis Whitlock tripped up, a gain of a couple. By the way, you saw some black dust fly up, and you'll see it on these field turf stadiums. You wonder what that is. Field turf is basically the old AstroTurf, longer blades, but there is ground up black rubber in it. And when it's new, you'll often see the black rubber fly up. Players will tell you that when you get tackled, you feel like you're eating a sneaker, but it is a lot softer to land on. Eskimos lead by 11. We'll step out for a moment. The sack tally is brought to you by Purolator, tackling hunger across Canada. Check. The Edmonton Eskimos now have 3 sacks on the year, 2 of them in this game, one by Andre Coleman, the other generously given to Maurice Lloyd. What a great program, the Purolator tackle hunger. And there is the injured John Bowman on the sidelines, tied for the league lead with 12 sacks last year. That would be a huge loss for the Alouettes. 2nd and 10 for the Eskimos. Ricky Ray looking over the top again. Fred Stamps wide open, and he got the football. Unbelievable. Fred Stamps had nothing but end zone in front of him. Wow. Should the Alouettes come back, that will be an important moment in the game.
Absolutely. It's once again the recurring theme of this football game. Fred Stamps and Kelly Campbell manhandling the Montreal halfbacks. But something funny happened on his way to the end zone.
Ouch. Schiavone with a good punt, bounces into the Alouettes end zone. Maypray will take a knee, and a flag comes down, which will negate the single point. So an unforced error by the Edmonton Eskimos. It's a 64-yard punt. Ooh, Ricky Ray, a little smile at the end of that play. Couldn't have been run better. Kelly Campbell dropped one in the end zone as well.
No yards. Edmonton 35. That penalties declined. Single point.
So the Alouettes will surrender the single and take the ball at the 35-yard line. It's now a 12-point lead instead of 11.
And we'll take another look back, and the drop by Fred Stamps on that deep ball. See number 98, Jermaine McElveen, the Montreal defensive lineman, in chase, throwing up his hands in despair.
Not my man.
Wondering what's going on.
Alouettes start at their own 35-yard line. Calvillo hammered that. Actually into the hand, I believe, of Edmonton defensive lineman Justin Brown. Get credit for a knockdown. Alouettes have gone 2 and out twice and 3 total yards here in the 3rd quarter.
Once again, very unlike the Montreal Alouettes, usually such a well-oiled machine. Looked like that one slipped out of Anthony Calvillo's hand as he went to release it.
Second and 10. Calvillo slings it out there, caught by Richardson. A first down to the Montreal 53-yard line. A gain of 18 yards for Jamel Richardson. And that silences what had been a raucous Edmonton crowd for the moment. A 12-point Edmonton Eskimo lead.
Well, as much as they haven't had to do it often the last couple of years, we know from last year's Grey Cup, this Montreal team is very capable of playing from behind.
Calvillo looking for Brett. He was well covered in the play by Lenny Walls, and the pass falls incomplete. For Calgary Stampeder, Winnipeg Blue Bomber.
Lenny Walls, one of the big offseason acquisitions for the Edmonton Eskimos. He and Chris Thompson came over to shore up those halfback spots. Walls in perfect position on Bratton on that play.
for Calvillo. Drops it underneath, and Avon Coburn very close to a Montreal first down as he picks up just short of 10 yards, and now pushing and shoving breaks out. Jeff Parrott in there for the Alouettes. Maurice Lloyd for Edmonton. Jeff Parrott, 6'7", 320 pounds.
Mo Lloyd's tough, but he might have been out of his weight class there.
Yeah. There are cars that aren't in that weight class. And the Alouettes are just, where are they? Just shy. Nope, first down. By some stitching on the end of the ball. So they'll move the chains. First down at the Edmonton 47-yard line, but Mark Trestman has to be concerned about 2 consecutive performances by his team in which there have been long periods of time in which they appear to have gone to sleep.
Well, no doubt. Mark Trestman has worked so hard to avoid any complacency. We talked about no mention. The fact there's no mention of them having won the 2009 Grey Cup anywhere in the Alouettes locker room.
First down, Calvillo swings it out to the fullback, Kerry Carter. And a flag comes down at the end of the play. And they may be calling Rod Davis for a late hit here, which would tack on to the end of the play, which was already a Montreal first down.
Unnecessary roughness. Edmonton number 40. Half the distance to the goal line, first down.
Get a great look at this one as they hit the sidelines. Kerry Carter forced out. Rod Davis in pursuit. Well, it looks like he tried to give up on the tackle, but from the angle the official had and the way Carter went down, the call was made.
Alouettes first down at the Edmonton 20-yard line. Should be the final play of the third quarter. Calvillo drops underneath. This is Bratton. Inside the 10, Brian Bratton fights down to the goal line. Alouettes think he got in, but there's no indication from the official. It's a gain of 19 yards. They'll mark him down at the 1. 4.1 seconds left in the third quarter. I would have to think that Trestman will challenge this. Now the officials are huddling.
Well executed hitch screen. The Alouettes get the offensive lineman out in front. Bratton goes airborne as he spins through the air.
And he's in.
Yep. The ball broke the plane before anything other than his hand had hit the ground.
And Trestman is challenging. This will be a touchdown, we think, for Brian Bratton.
Play has been ruled on the field a touchdown.
No need to challenge it. It's a 20-yard score for the Alouettes. We have a chance now to pull within 5. And you hate to bring it up, but that Fred Stamps drop looms large now.
You didn't sound like you hated bringing that up at all.
Way to go, Lamb. It has to be done. This is also my only Edmonton game of the year, so not that brave.
But you're absolutely right, Gord. Essentially, you could call it a 14-point swing on that play.
Duvall puts the point after through, and the Montreal Alouettes have sprung back to life, down 5 after 3 quarters. Stats after 3 quarters brought to you by Tim Hortons, proud sponsor of the CFL. The Edmonton Eskimos, 409 net yards so far, only 1 turnover in the game. The Eskimos lead this game by 5, but Dwayne Ford, to be honest, they've got to be kicking themselves at this point. They should be up by a lot more.
Well, absolutely they should. We saw in that third quarter 2 critical drop passes by the Edmonton Eskimos. For as good as Kelly Campbell and Fred Stamps have been today, Campbell had a drop in the end zone at the end of that battle with Billy Parker. Moments later, that one resulted in a field goal, but 4 missed points there. But moments later, the drop by Fred Stamps where he could have walked into the end zone. 11 points left on the field. with those 2 drop balls.
Alouettes will have the win here in the 4th quarter. And the kick. Taken up the field quickly by Edmonton's Weldon Brown. Brown with a good return of 32 yards gives the Eskimos great field position. There's Brian Bratton with the 20-yard touchdown catch.
This is one of the few times in this football game that the Edmonton Eskimos find themselves in a position where they are the ones who have to respond.
Very important series, you'd say, for the Eskimos here?
No question. All they've done well up to this point could quickly become irrelevant.
Play fake by Ray. Out the Stamps he goes. And Stamps out to the 48-yard line for a gain of 5. That's an interesting decision. Doug Flutie often did that after a player dropped the football, go right back to him if he could. And then Flutie would tell you if he dropped it again, he would not see another football the rest of the day.
A little question that the Eskimos' game plan today revolves around those 2 slots, Fred Stamps and Kelly Campbell. For the success they've had, not going to let one rare drop from each of them change the entire plan.
Ray over the top for McCarty. The fullback was going deep on the play. So you wouldn't often see that. And he was covered step for step by Ramon Guzman. The pass ball is incomplete. And the Eskimos did not answer. They'll be forced to punt.
At a time when they needed to regain some momentum in this football game. Even if it didn't result in points, they definitely needed a drive and to get that Alouette offense sitting on the sidelines for a little while. 2 and out, the worst possible scenario.
Schiavone with a bouncing kick to Maypray from his 21-yard line. And Maypray hammered at the 30-yard line on a terrific special teams play by Graham Bell. We saw that pass from McCarty fall incomplete. An area where last week there was some furniture. As Casey Printers found out the hard way as he scrambled out of bounds. Holding. The Printers ran into that table and chairs. And this week, the Eskimos have moved that out of the way, decided that maybe a football field is not the best place for furniture. Meantime, a holding call against the Alouettes on the return moves them back to their 18-yard line. There's where the table is now. Brian Rashog, however, may be in the way, although the former Kamloops Blazer can handle himself easily. Especially now that he's put on so much weight. From the 17, Calvillo fires it out, and the catch is made. Kerry Watkins has a first down up to the 33-yard line, a gain of 17 yards.
It seems like it's been a long time since we've called the names of some of these Alouette receivers, particularly Kerry Watkins.
He had a couple of drops in the first half.
The guy who Anthony Calvillo routinely looks to when he needs a big play. Nice effort by Watkins, working back to the football.
5 career touchdown catches for Kerry Watkins against Edmonton. And Cahoon, by the way, has won in 12 games against them. Coburn, wrapped up very quickly by Kenny Petway. Gain of maybe a yard.
Kenny Petway lined up at that defensive end position. The right side of your screen. Doesn't fall for the fake at all, keeps outside leverage.
Better be good if you're going to wear 99 in Edmonton. Second and long. Calvillo under pressure, and he is sacked. Brought down by Petway. And Paul Lambert shaken up on the play.
It's the Edmonton defense that steps up to generate a little bit of momentum with this series, led by Kenneth Petway. First-year defensive end into the lineup in place of the injured Greg Peach.
Once again, frustration for Calvillo and the Montreal offense. This is his 6th punt. As Damon Duval sends that way up in the air. And Skylar Green had that almost go over his head as he was chased back to his 20-yard line. Can he get the corner? Chip Cox reaches out, makes a great tackle. Shamry helps out. And the Eskimos are limited to a return of 6. The CFL on TSN is brought to you in part by Rona, proud sponsor of the CFL. Rona, doing it right. Holding call on the kick return for the Edmonton Eskimos pushes them back even further. They will start at their own 8-yard line. 11:24 to go in the 4th quarter. Edmonton with a 5-point lead. One of these two teams will be 0-2 after week 2 and playing on the road in week 3. Give to Archie Whitlock, and he was stymied almost instantly. As jumping up to make the tackle was Shea Emery.
With this shift in field position, the Eskimos, the urgency for them to pick up a couple of first downs, move this football, becomes so much greater.
Shea Emery, the UBC product, who will be back in Vancouver with his team next Friday. The Alouettes will stay here in Edmonton and practice for a few days, then head off to Vancouver, rather than heading home and back. Had a rough travel day in, delayed by several hours. 2nd and long. Ricky Ray slings it, intercepted, picked off by Gerald Brown. Gerald Brown, touchdown. And just like that, the Alouettes retake the lead. And the Eskimos are arguing there should have been pass interference, as they felt Kamal Peterson was bumped before the ball got there.
Gerald Brown had a right to the football and made a great play on it. Knows where Peterson's going. He just beats Peterson to the football. Remember back to the 1st quarter when we talked about Gerald Brown getting beaten on a big play, and he came back, made a huge defensive play in the end zone to prevent a touchdown. May have had sort of a tough day here dealing with Stamps and Campbell. But Brown shakes it off to come up with this monster play.
First career touchdown for Gerald Brown. Couldn't come at a better time, as the Alouettes, now up by 1, will go for 2. Calvillo to the end zone. Richardson makes the catch, and the Alouettes will take the lead, or will they? There's a flag down in the end zone. So Tressman decides that a 2-point lead at this point is worthless.
Illegal contact on the receiver. Edmonton number 4. That penalty is declined. The 2-point convert is good.
So the Alouettes get 2 and lead by 3 in the 4th quarter.
Ricky Ray steps up and throws this football to Kamal Peterson, but Gerald Brown knows what's coming. He's running the route for the receiver. Just beats Kamal Peterson to the football. He's off to the races. Alouettes follow that up. The 2-point conversion to Jamel Richardson.
And look at Mark Tressman. That's a rare show of emotion from the Montreal coach. After the Stamps drop, the Eskimos got a single on the punt. But since then, the Alouettes have reeled off 15 unanswered points.
I think we've identified our turning point in today's football game. Game far from over. A 3-point game with 10 minutes to go. The Eskimos just need to settle down and get back to doing the things that made them successful earlier.
Brown from his 5-yard line. Stacked up just shy of the 30, and that's what the Eskimos will go to work. Well, there is an injured Edmonton Eskimo on the play. So Ricky Ray's having a good day, but the interception by Gerald Brown looms large.
When we talked about those two drop passes, those two balls are caught. Ricky Ray's touchdown numbers swell by 2 as well.
Andrew Nowacki is the injured Edmonton Eskimo, and while we have a moment, Tuesday Night Movies continue this week on TSN. We get you set for the Open Championship with our premiere screening of the golf classic Caddyshack. At 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Time for the old Billy Baroo. What is that at the Big O? A rabbit. Oh, sorry, it's here. That's not the Big O option. That's the planetarium here in Edmonton. Just looks like the Big O. By the way, rabbits everywhere here in Edmonton.
Really?
Yep. Everywhere. I don't know why. When I lived here, no rabbits. They apparently got some time alone, and now there are rabbits everywhere.
Rabbits are like that, Gord.
Thank you. Nice to see that University of Western Ontario education did not go to waste.
Exactly.
From the 29, Ricky Ray pulls it down, throws it back underneath, and the catch is made by Ephraim Hill. Gain of a couple up to the 32-yard line. Marcos a gain of 4 yards. Under 10 minutes to go now in the fourth quarter. Montreal leading by 3, and Edmonton has a relatively inexperienced field goal kicker, Derek Chavoni, taking over for Noel Prefontaine, who was a late scratch.
We should point out that Chavoni isn't your typical raw rookie. This is his 3rd year with the Eskimos. He's suited up for 1 game and kicked in a game in each of the last 2 years.
Second down. Ray fires it out for Stamps. The pass is high and incomplete, but on the other side of the field, there's a flag down. Right at the center field stripe, a good 40 yards from where the ball was thrown.
Illegal contact on the receiver. Montreal number 11. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Another tough penalty taken by Chip.
Hey, guys.
And that will give the Edmonton Eskimos a first down as the ball moves up to their 44-yard line.
Chip Cox lines up. He's the 3rd defender from the bottom, working against Andre Talbot, the slot back, and wrestles him down at the 40-yard line right on the hash marks. Chip Cox, known as a physical defender. Sometimes that attracts the attention of the officials.
First down, the fake to Whitlock. And Ray wanted to go deep, and he's picked off again. Ricky Ray is intercepted by the safety, Etienne Boulay. And the Alouettes take over at midfield. Another miscue by the Eskimos. And Ricky Ray and the Eskimos had everything going their way just 45 minutes ago.
Well, they sure did, but all has changed here. A little bit of pressure, Jermaine McIlvaine in Ray's face as he throws that ball. Tries to go to Mathieu Bertrand in the flat. Right around the 50-yard line, but an off-balance throw. Ends up off target, and Etienne Boulay, the beneficiary.
Don't you bring it out. Timeout, Montreal.
And now the Alouettes call timeout.
Come on, a lot of time left.
Now the right personnel on the field. One essential part of Anthony Calvillo that separates him from other quarterbacks in the Canadian Football League, the incredibly low number of interceptions he throws. Last year, Anthony Calvillo threw 26 touchdown passes and just 6 interceptions. Just 1 this year. Now remember back when he played for the Hamilton Ticats? He threw 45 interceptions in 3 years, and people thought he might not make it as a quarterback. He had 19 in 1 year because he got picked off so much. But since then, Calvillo has been very careful with the football. The last 3 years with Montreal, Dwayne, 86 touchdown passes, 27 interceptions.
Anthony Calvillo is the poster boy for the pattern of development of Canadian Football League quarterbacks. They need experience, they need time to play. Given that, they become pretty good.
Now Calvillo looking deep for Watkins. Hands up on him and flags are down. This time Jason Goss gets called. And the Alouettes are going to have first and goal at the Edmonton 5.
There is a flag.
And this has been a flag festival for defensive backs today.
Kerry Watkins right on the letter C as he crosses midfield.
Forward pass interference. Edmonton number 4. Ball spotted at the point of the foul. First down.
No doubt whatsoever about that call, and I just can't help feeling like these two teams went in at halftime and exchanged uniforms.
Mark the ball just outside the 6. First and goal for the Alouettes. Gunning into the end zone. Touchdown. It's Watkins. There's a flag down on the other side of the field. Kerry Watkins with a touchdown catch. Will it stand?
Well, this flag will likely be for an illegal substitution by Edmonton.
It is. And so the Watkins touchdown catch will stand.
Illegal substitution. Edmonton number 59. That penalty is declined. Touchdown is scored.
6th career touchdown catch for Kerry Watkins against Edmonton.
Watkins to the right of the screen, working against the corner, Jason Goss. Little push and shove, separates himself from the defender. 6 points.
And a chance now to make it a 10-point lead. Duval puts it through, and the Alouettes have reeled off 21 straight points to take the lead by 10. So Kerry Watkins with a big touchdown catch for the Alouettes. It's actually 22 unanswered points now for Montreal because of the 2-point convert. It was 22-11 in favor of the Eskimos in the 3rd quarter. Now 33-23 Alouettes. Brown. Skylar Green back for the kickoff. This is bounced down to Green at the 15. Skylar Green steps up and goes to the 31-yard line.
Look back at that last touchdown. The bottom left corner of your screen, you'll see number 95, Justin Brown, running into the game late. That's the illegal substitution. Hard enough to play with 12 players on the field. When you've only got 11, it's even harder. Brown just tries to blend into the play there. But when you weigh 270 pounds, it's tough to be inconspicuous.
First down for the Eskimos from their 31-yard line. Now down 10 with 7.5 to go in the 4th quarter. And Ricky Ray gets away and swings it out to Archie Whitlock, and Whitlock fights his way out to the 40-yard line. Just short of an Edmonton first down.
A remarkable effort by Ricky Ray.
And the Alouettes, thanks to a defensive touchdown from Gerald Brown and the Kerry Watkins catch, opening things up here, but the combination of the Fred Stamps drop and the Gerald Brown interception, crushing for Edmonton. And a huge look for the Alouettes. Here's Whitlock again, runs into a wall. And that wall comprised mainly of Montreal defensive tackle Marcus Smith.
A series of 4th quarter plays have turned this football game around. You mentioned Gerald Brown's interception return for a touchdown. That's the biggie, followed by Etienne Boulet's interception. Anthony Calvillo finds Kerry Watkins for the touchdown a couple of plays later. Seems we say it every week. The most defining stat determining the outcome of a football game, turnovers.
Eskimos gambling on 3rd and short. Ricky Ray moves ahead. There are flags down. I think the Alouettes might have lined up offside, but the Alouettes are indicating, the Otter Dixons at least, that it's against the Eskimos.
Offside. Montreal number 96. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Nice try. But Picasso goes offside. The Eskimos will move the sticks. Think back to last year, Dwayne. The Eskimos were 1-3 going to Saskatchewan. Pulled out an emotional win in Richie Hall's return to Taylor Field. And maybe going back there 0-2. And they can't turn things around here. 5:40 to go in the fourth quarter. Ray on first down. Wants to go deep, has a man. It's incomplete and flags are down. As Fred Stamps was the intended target. And Gerald Brown is down the play as he collided with Stamps as the ball was in the air.
I said it a few minutes ago. The Eskimos need to go back to doing some of the things that made them successful, throwing the ball down the field, working their slots against those halfbacks. They did it. Something good happened.
This will be the 5th pass interference penalty in the game. Gerald Brown's been in the middle of things all day.
Life as a CFL defensive halfback.
Forward pass interference. Montreal number 39. Spotted at the point of the foul. First down.
Fred Stamps, the middle receiver. That trio to the top of the field, working man-to-man against Gerald Brown from the 50-yard line. Little clutch on the back by the left hand.
First down for the Eskimos at the Montreal 47-yard line. Clock running at 5:20 here in the fourth quarter. Ray slings it up top again for Stamps. He's open, but the pass is incomplete. There's a flag down in the Edmonton offensive backfield. This will be holding against the Eskimos.
Holding. Edmonton number 63. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Joel McGrath is called. The ball moves back to the Edmonton side of the field to the Eskimo 53.
Kelly Campbell back in the Eskimos lineup, but just moments ago was on the sidelines getting his ribs wrapped up. Wonder if this relates at all to the injury Kelly Campbell had last week. They claimed it was a cramp, but they were working on the same area a week ago when he had to leave late in the game.
1st and 20. And Ray way up top. Even Jamal Richardson standing on the Montreal sideline couldn't sky for that. Now the Bluebirds are out in Edmonton. This is a big year for the Eskimos. The Grey Cup, of course, is here. Talking to Ricky Ray about it yesterday, he was saying to us that there's always pressure in Edmonton, but because the Grey Cup is here, maybe expectations got a little high. They were a 9-9 team last year.
It's a big jump, but everybody looks at the West Division as being wide open. I think everybody anticipates that you're going to have 4 teams clustered together when all is said and done. Of course, everyone in Edmonton figures they should be on the top of that cluster.
2nd and 10. Ray swings it down to Campbell. Kelly Campbell makes the catch at the 40. And he'll be about 3 yards short of an Edmonton first down. So 4:15 to go in the fourth quarter. You've got 3rd and 3. And Richie Hall is leaving his offense on the field. It would be a 47-yard field goal try. So the Eskimos will gamble. It's actually close to 4 yards for a first down.
This is all about that need for momentum and to keep the Alouette offense off the field.
Early movement, and flags are down. Anwar Stewart moved, but was he drawn off?
Let the finger pointing begin.
Yes. Patrick Kabongo looking upset.
Looking a little guilty, perhaps.
And there are 3 officials huddling to talk this over. It's a huge call here at this point in the game. It's either a first down Edmonton or it's 3rd and 9. And you're out of field goal range essentially.
Procedure. Edmonton 56. 5-yard penalty. It remains 3rd down.
Ooh. It's against Kabongo.
Yeah, Kabongo, the right guard, in a 2-point stance on this play. Rock back a little bit early out of his stance. That's what draws Anwar Stewart and the rest of the D-line.
The Eskimos keep the offense on the field. It's now 3rd and 8 from the 46-yard line. 3.5 to go in the 4th quarter. Ray with time, and the pass is batted down, knocked down by Shea Emery. And another big play from the Montreal defense turns the Eskimos away.
Middle linebacker Shea Emery, number 41. Part of a massive blitz here coming from the Alouettes. They bring middle linebacker and free safety Etienne Boulay. Emery does a nice job to get his right hand up. The fans are filing for the exits here at Commonwealth.
Richie Hall's got to regroup as his team heads to Regina to face the 2-0 Saskatchewan Roughriders. Avon Coburn with the carry. To the 44-yard line. The Eskimos have not lost their first 2 home games of the year since 1969. They're 3 minutes away from doing just that in 2010. Today's game story brought to you by Mr. Lube. 22 unanswered points for the Alouettes. Fred Stamps had 6 catches for 120 yards and a touchdown, but a huge drop. Derek Schiavone 5 of 6 on field goals, but Anthony Calvillo and the Alouettes once again have an answer to avoid an 0-2 start, although there's still lots of time left. And the Alouettes can tell you all about how fast the lead can slip away. Big moment here in the game. 2nd and 11 for the Owls from their 44-yard line. Calvillo has to throw it away, and that will force the Alouettes to punt.
Solid effort from the Eskimo defense. Danny Machocha watching from up above. Eskimos general manager showing his frustration at the way this 4th quarter has played out.
Damon Duvall back to punt from his 30. Lots of pressure, and Duvall gets it away. Good kick, but it flies straight out of bounds. And it's outside the 20-yard line, so that'll be a penalty against the Alouettes. The spot at the 29-yard line. Tack on the yardage for the illegal kick, and the Eskimos will have decent field position. 2:35 to go in the 4th quarter. Ricky Ray was lighting it up in the first half. 237 yards and a touchdown. Second half.
Illegal kick out of bounds. Montreal number 15. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 3rd down.
101 yards, 2 interceptions. The big one, Gerald Brown's taken back for a touchdown. And the Eskimos, rather than taking the yardage, will force the Alouettes to re-kick. Perhaps thinking their block group can get in. They were close on that last attempt. Skylar Green now moves up to the 35-yard line. And 11 men up for the Eskimos.
Putting a lot of faith in their ability to block or return this football when they're willing to give up time.
Here comes the rush, and they got a piece of it anyway. And the ball spins down and is recovered by the Eskimos. Javier Black.
Right decision.
So the Eskimos with flags down will take over in Montreal territory, spotted right now at the 45-yard line. And Kenny Petway appeared to get a hand on it.
Well, the Eskimos gambled, deciding to leave that punt block team out there, risking giving up a little extra time to make Montreal punt again. for what they would gain in field position with the block.
2:29 to go. Eskimos down 10. Montreal last week saw a 21-point lead evaporate in the second half against Saskatchewan. The game that went to that wild overtime. Now, the ball was partially blocked. Where did it land is the question.
No yards. Montreal number 41. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Attack on 5, so the ball did cross the line of scrimmage.
99, Ken Petway. Looks from that right side. One of 3 Eskimos converging on Damon Duval.
Eskimos have it first down at the Montreal 40-yard line. A conversation going on with the officials. And now they're ready to go. First down from the Alouette 40, Ricky Ray. Looks over the top, flags are down, and the pass falls incomplete in the end zone. He was looking for a Brett Hill. And this is coming back, holding against Edmonton. And the Eskimos, who could do no wrong into the third quarter.
Holding. Edmonton number 56. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Suddenly can't do anything right.
Well, the Eskimos are the ones getting flagged here. Patrick Kabongo, the right guard, called for holding. It gets wrapped up on John Bowman, but the hit on Ricky Ray, maybe a shot to the head.
Edmonton penalized 11 times for 169 yards. Now from the 50, 1st and 20. Ray under pressure, and he is sacked. Jermaine McElveen takes him down. And it'll be second and about 24.
Well, this is a situation where things are just difficult for the Edmonton offensive line. We've seen on the last 2 plays. Everybody in the building knows they've got to throw the football. And they're up against a pretty good group of pass rushers when you talk about the Alouette D-line.
Clock running at 2:10 here in the fourth. And Ray needs a bundle. Swings it out to Hill. And that's no gain. And those who are left aren't happy.
He picks up a yard, and it'll be 3rd and 23.
It'll be 3rd and 23 now for Richie Hall's Eskimos. Talbot in the game for the Eskimos as Lackey was hurt earlier. 3rd and a whole bunch. Ray slings it up, and it's incomplete. The pass broken up by Ramon Guzman, and Ricky Ray slammed to the turf at the end of that play, but the Alouettes will take over on downs with 1:42 to go in the fourth quarter. And the Montreal Alouettes, the defending Grey Cup champions, find a way on the road in a place that has not been friendly to them. The Alouettes came in here having lost their last 3 in Edmonton and 5 of their last 6.
And one of the most impressive things about this game is the way things got turned around. A guy, Gerald Brown, had a tough day battling Kelly Campbell and Fred Stamps, gave up some big plays, took some pass interference flags, but ultimately Gerald Brown came up with one of the biggest plays of the day for the Edmonton Eskimos.
Edmonton has turned the ball over.
Montreal Alouettes.
Edmonton has turned the ball over 4 times in the game, all 4 turnovers in the fourth quarter. Here's Avon Coburn out to midfield. Gain of about 3. Calvillo and company off to BC, which has been unkind to them. Maybe Empire Field will change their luck. Mark Trestman last year talked about win the day. That was the catchphrase for the Alouettes. They have a new one this year. He won't say what it is, but process is a word you hear a lot with Mark Trestman. Second and 6 as the clock continues to run. Here's Coburn again. And Coburn bottled up. Well, the Alouettes will have to punt. Now flags come down at the end of the play.
That's a pure frustration penalty from Mo Lloyd.
And there'll be a lot of that going around in Edmonton this week, I would think.
Well, no doubt. This is
Major foul, unnecessary roughness. Edmonton number 47, 15-yard penalty, first down.
in many ways the second consecutive game in which a promising start just went sideways. Last week it just happened a lot earlier.
In the first 5 minutes. And an angry Richie Hall will take his team to Regina with an 0-2 record.
As you mentioned, that trip was a pretty good elixir for the Eskimos last year.
Avon Coburn on the carry and close to another first down as he fights his way across the 30-yard line. Gain of 8. Now more pushing and shoving breaks out. This time TJ Hill, the former Alouette, is in it.
If that shot of Kelly Campbell doesn't speak volumes.
The two things you think about the most from an Edmonton perspective, Kelly Campbell and Fred Stamps both throwing their helmets on the sidelines after dropping sure touchdowns.
On a day when they should have been celebrating their monstrous performances, but nobody's going to remember all those catches and all those yards.
The championship teams find a way, and that's what Anthony Calvillo, Avon Coburn, and the rest of the Alouettes are doing. 4 flags are down. This game crawls to a conclusion. Maybe time to hand out some red cards. What do you think? That's a face mask on Edmonton's Lenny Walls. The Eskimos are marching the Alouettes down the field by themselves.
That makes it first and 10 Montreal after 12.
Lenny Walls grabbing the face mask of Avon Coburn as the running back goes by him.
First down for the Alouettes at the Edmonton 12-yard line. 47 seconds to go in the 4th quarter. Back to the ground to Coburn, who gets down to the 6-yard line.
As much as the penalties have contributed to this drive, this is the Montreal Alouettes just imposing their will on Edmonton. They're blowing the Eskimos off the line of scrimmage play after play, despite the fact that everybody in green and gold knows it's going to be a run to Avon Coburn.
Second down from the 6-yard line. Coburn again. And he gets down inside the 2-yard line. That'll be 3rd down for the Alouettes. 19.5 seconds to go. And the Alouettes with a 10-point lead. And now the clock will start running. And the Alouettes, I think, are just going to take a knee.
They're going to nail it down. We've seen this move from Mark Trestman in the past, where it's not about running up the score. They've got to keep running plays and get first downs to maintain the ball up to this point, but they don't need any more points.
The defending champs are up off the mat after surrendering a lead the week before in Saskatchewan. Mark Trestman's Alouettes come back from 11 down and score an emotional win in Edmonton against the now 0-2 Eskimos. This has been a presentation of TSN, Canada's sports leader. Now stand by for Sports Center.